Hey everyone, I'm David Room. We've got some interesting stuff tonight. For the past few streams, over the past couple weeks, I've been working on some low poly interiors for the carrier or hub area of my space combat game. And working on it, not on stream, over the weekend and over a couple evenings, I've gotten it to the point where we are, I think, ready to put it into the game. We might still tweak some things, of course, but it's time to get things into the game and into the game engine with lighting, things like that. Start figuring out game camera positions, stuff like that. So this is a little bit fiddly, and it might not involve as much 3D modeling or mesh processing as some of my other streams, but I think it's still going to be kind of interesting to go through the process of kind of integrating all this stuff. And yeah, let's get started with it. So earlier today I was working on my low poly humans a little bit. Let's close that stuff out and open our workbench again. So here's some functions, and for people who might be new, I'm actually doing 3D modeling with Python code. So I have these different functions that build different kind of chunks of the interior of the spaceship. And the one that we're looking at is the simulator room that we're building. So if I run my bench, we get this 3D model. This wasn't just loaded, it was actually, the whole thing was created, with the exception of this figure, which is kind of a stand-in. And over the weekend, I added more of these cables, kind of tweaked a lot of positions, got a lot of different things, going, and I did this trapdoor in the floor that'll give some dimension to the scene. So we'll be kind of, in the game, we'll be kind of looking through it from around by the door. And this is a hollow projector. So the idea is when you select different ships, or maybe even like different engagement zones, and maybe even once you actually have your ships chosen, there'll be different things that display on the hollow projector, so you kind of have a little preview of what you're going to play. So that's how this is coming. We built a lot of this stuff on stream, and if you're curious about how the cables are done, they use splines. I did one or two of them on stream, but then had to do a few more. I didn't really find a good abstraction for the different steps that's involved in that. Maybe that's a project for another time. So there's quite a bit of duplicate code in how these cables are made, but I'm pretty pleased with the end result. Oh, and I think one other thing I'm going to do in the future is I want to make a better chair that looks more like an office chair. And is maybe a little bit bigger, but I think for now we kind of have all the pieces in the right places. So I see Doug Wise here. He says looks great. Thanks, Doug. I know you've seen a lot of this. Oh, and I think something else I did is I made this little little desk that holds like a keyboard and joysticks that you would control the simulator with. And what I might do, and we'll see how far we get today, but depending on what makes sense, like before we launch the simulator, we might like pivot the camera over to like in the simulator, so it kind of like fades into the actual gameplay. I think that would be really cool and immersive, which is kind of the point of all this, is like these old space combat games put a lot of effort into the areas outside of the actual simulation gameplay to really bring you into the story and the settings, so that's what we're going for here. Although a lot of those games use pre-rendered graphics, and I'm actually doing 3D, so a little bit different. Yeah, so here's what it looks like in Blender. You can see some of the shading on the cables. The cables have smooth shading. There might be some kinks to work out a little bit with that, but I think for the most part it looks pretty good. Oh, and then something else that we're going to have to do is when we bring this into the game, we're going to put an actual light on this spotlight. So where this light is aiming is where the spotlight that lights this scene is going to be aiming. And that's definitely going to take some fiddling around. I don't think we're going to get it looking quite like we want on the first try, but it's going to be a fun process of trial and error to get that. And we have some ways of maybe interactively testing how that's going to look in Blender with lights. So again, depending on how long we go, we may or may not get into that. I'm hopeful that we can get this loaded into the game with lights in the menu system by the end of stream tonight. So that's what we're going to shoot for. Okay, so first thing that we've got to do here is we have to actually put this simulator scene into the kind of collection of scenes that are set inside this carrier. And there's a few ways that might go wrong, and I want to make sure that we don't run into any surprises there. So let's do this. So let's see here. So this is my script that actually generates all of the game data. And then let's see what I have for the okay, so the function is going to be all interiors. And then this function will take our parts format and add game engine specific data like the materials and stuff into it. We're also going to have to make another piece where we place the lights. But let's start here. So we'll switch over from simulator to all interiors. And we'll LS this so we can check and make sure everything looks like what we expect. And I'm going to start by putting this kind of alongside where the quarters are. And we'll look and see if that actually fits inside the ship. So I'm actually trying to put these rooms in sort of reasonable places inside the ship. So we'll do like -10 here. All of our units are in meters, so that makes it a little bit easier to think about how stuff should be positioned. And I'm just gonna write something quick here. So we're gonna take a look at the number of parts that we have here and the number of simulator parts, and then look at the total. And just make sure that we're not losing any to duplicates or anything. Let's see here. Yeah, 206 plus 59 is 265, so that seems correct. So everything is getting into that final part set. So we can drop this in here. And then I'm gonna just double check the list of parts here and just see if I need to clean up any names. I'm gonna try to get rid of this spline keeps coming up here. I'm gonna try to get rid of any redundant names on things. Okay. Yeah, because we've got sim hardware, chair, spotlight. Yeah, like we don't have any extra sim prefix on anything. And this could actually be renamed to Brit, but I think that's a trivial change that I'm not going to worry about right now. So let me just check that number of parts once more, and then so 265. Yeah, 265. Okay. So, let's take a look at this now. So, we should be able to kind of verify that things are positioned in a reasonable way. Okay, that is not what I want. So I have the quarters here. Oh yeah, okay, so it's offset by the wrong dimension. And yeah. This will want to be farther out. Yeah. Now, we'll see if this is still inside the carrier. I think it's probably not going to be, so you might want to just preemptively drop this down a little bit. I'm not going to worry about getting the exact spot right now. We'll do now, okay, so now that we have this in here, let's actually get this saved out. And then we can kind of start debugging it in the game. Okay, so just run this. Will this run, or will we run into issues? Okay, so that runs, so that's good. Let's actually just load up the game and see if we can see and confirm that it's in there. So if I actually do a free flight, if I do a free flight, I can actually clip through the ship and kind of like see where stuff is. So it might be too hard to see. Too hard to control. Well, I guess... we don't... I'm not seeing it on the outside of the ship, so I think we're good for now. And then if we find it later, we'll deal with it. Just check something here. Because see, where it should go is it should kind of go in this wider part of the ship. And there's going to be a lot more details that go on this carrier, but it should kind of go in this wide part. Let's see, where is that in relation to the... So that's, yeah, that's that's somewhat below the hangar. So it can go lower, I think, and stick out. Yeah, because there's the cargo bay. And it's going to be like on one of these sides is where it's sitting right now. But okay, cool. So let's work now on the sort of game dev pieces now that we have this thing that are required. So first let's look at materials. And there is a function in here which I might actually just actually see if this works, because I have a function that would let me load the game models back into Blender to debug it. So let's actually try running that. This is probably gonna, whoops. It's probably gonna fail somehow, but we'll find out. Oh, this doesn't... Oh, here we go. Here's what I want. The artifacts aren't making it into this somehow. This looks like something deeper than I want to get into right now as far as why this isn't working. It's been a while since I've looked at this code and I've done a lot of things that haven't worked. So we're gonna just, I haven't updated. So we're just gonna press on. Without going that direction for now. And see how far we get without it. Okay, so I guess the next thing that we have to do is we have to get a camera and some lights into the room. So let's see if we can do that. Let's see if we can do that with the sort of debug methods that we have working. So we do all interiors here, and there are some constants that describe where the cameras for the different scenes are, and I just want to check if these are, I believe they should be lining up with this. So let me check something here. So this is where we're loading this model, building the scenery. Bunny mode, we'll turn that off for now. Okay, so I have actually different scenery for each of these. So we can do that. That actually might be why it wasn't showing up at all. Okay. And then I was just going to try to figure out how these things are getting reparented. Because they should be getting reparented to the actual carrier ship. Yeah, that's it. CI base NP, and okay, so there's the offset. So it's just a Y offset, and it's 15.5. So I should be able to look at some of these positions that I have for cameras and see if they make sense, and then we can add more. So let's take a look at this. So let's actually, if we take this guy and do an offset. Well, actually, this stuff might all be relative to see something here. Do a better job of grouping some of this. So let's see here. Do these things... Yeah, so these things have their positions. Now, when we... Let's see here. I'm just reminding myself of how the camera how the camera works. Yeah, okay, so this is being set relative to the base NP of the carrier info. Which okay. Yeah, which is relative to the hangar scenery, which is kind of the root of everything. Just gonna leave a note for myself. This seems a little bit backwards. So I think what we can do though is we can get this stuff going for the simulation room, make sure that this stuff works. So if we that's interesting. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Just see if this works. So can we find the simulator in the model tree? Yes. Okay, so now we can make a scenery for it. And then we can toss this into everything. This is just a enum for like what scene we're looking at, because some game modes share scenery. Scenery in my game, scenery is like a model that also has special lighting on it. So the lights are and models can kind of be activated and deactivated as we move between different scenery being activated. Yeah, this seems like an extra layer of indirection that we don't want. Such a mess, all this stuff. Really need to clean some of this stuff up. Okay, so we've kind of sketched out what we need here, so let's start building these. So first we need to build the scenery. So for reference, we can kind of look at some of these other sceneries. And let's just add an exit right here so we know where we're getting, because we're going to want to search and find for a couple things in here. So let's actually just borrow this one. So we're also going to have a spotlight, and this will definitely need to be tweaked. Okay, get rid of this because this is definitely... So the way I do most of the stuff... Oh, I see Lachlan Williams in the chat. He says, "G'day, hello, how's it going?" The way I like most of these scenes is I have like a spotlight and then I have a point light. So the point light gives kind of a gradient and it doesn't cast any shadow, and the spotlight casts shadows. So I'm adapting the lighting setup from the cargo room. So what we're going to do here is we will let me just see here. Light. Okay, so we're gonna do something similar here, where we will reparent this to this the light of the spotlight. So this light, and this is the light, like the model, not the actual like game light object. Spotlight light model. It's gonna be model and find. You can find it by name. It's gonna be sim light. It might just be sim lights. Let's see here. Spotlight. Prefix. Okay, so just gonna be spotlight light. Sim spotlight light. Okay, and then light model and actually let's just run the bench just to double check how that's gonna go. So let's see. So red, green, blue. So it's going to be, we want to shift that light forward on the y-axis. So we want to shift it forward like 0.5 meters. So, and then, yeah. 0.5, just so that it's in front of it, everything, and there's nothing that's blocking its light. We can tweak this later to get the exact position. Okay, so that takes care of the spotlight, the point light. For now, center the room, and let's take the point light settings from the quarters, actually. And let's see here. Yeah, I'm doing this like weird parallel hierarchy thing here for some of these that I don't know. I don't think is necessary. I think I remember what's going on now. Yeah. And this is... Yeah. So I've got to rework how things are parented, but okay. So that takes care of the scenery. Yeah. This is way too bright. Okay. Now we need to... Actually, let's just see if this runs. If we can find everything. Yep, okay. That's a good sign. Oh, I was exiting the wrong spot there. There still might be hope. Okay, that seems to be working. So now we want to build the scene, which we're using the default function, so I think that should work. Now we just have to define where the camera is going to move for that that scene. And let's see if we can't do this. So let's take a look. We've got a list of camera positions. Yeah, okay. So are we anywhere? Yeah. So it appears that these positions are relative to what we want. And if we, let's just add a cam target so we can check. So let's add a empty, and we'll call this cam target. We'll add a track to cam target, and then cam target. 8, 22.75 minus 32. Yeah. That. When we give this the right field of view, it's like 60. Yeah. Okay. So we don't have to do any wonky stuff with our camera setup to get this working like right, which is good. So let's figure out where we should have the camera for simulator mode. Let's bring this guy down over here. Figured out a lot of like Blender settings that make things easier from when I was doing this last time. A really big one is there's this setting that makes it so that when you zoom, you can like zoom onto a surface. Without that setting enabled, it's a giant pain to zoom properly. Actually, here, let's do this. Because we want to get an idea of the aspect ratio. So let's just combine this. We'll split this, and then that is pretty much what I want. Because like if I do it too far in the room, then we can't really see. And then we'll put the ceiling back on too once we get there. Yeah, I can pull it out a little bit farther, as long as I don't run into the door frame. Okay, so let's we can copy out these coordinates now. Because this should at least give us a place to start and be able to test things. Round things off a little bit for ease of testing. I had a nice system to get these coordinates back in that function that's not working, so I'll have to pick that up if we spend more time tweaking this, but we don't have to do that now. don't recognize the song. Gotta make sure that, yeah. Cool. Okay. Just see where this guy sets in terms of the doorway. Let's see if I've got the... Yeah, the camera position is more or less where his head would be, so I think that's good. Okay. So now we should be able to wire this into the system that moves cameras to the different scenes. So let's add this into the flow. So if we're going into simulator, alright, and that should be all we need. So let's not spoil it, but we'll see if it works here. Moment of truth. Go into the elevator, and go into the simulator. Oh ho, there it is. Okay, so for starters, what's wrong here? So our spotlight looks like it's shining out of the Z axis rather than Y, which makes sense. So we got to add a rotation there. We got to replace our guy with the standard figure, and we should like rotate him or something. But I think that is the primary thing going on here. And of course we don't have, looks like we don't have materials or anything on here yet, so we got some weird shadow type stuff going on here too, but I'm not too concerned about that. Okay, let's fix this up. So re-enable this so we go right in there. That looks closer to right, but it doesn't look like... doesn't look like it's like it's aimed too high. Let me just look at some other spotlights here. Another thing I can do just to test is I can look at let's that's strange. I thought... Oh, that's what's going on. It's getting reparented. That's why this is all messed up. Okay, so yeah, we can't do the reparenting here. We have to reparent stuff separately. So get this separately be like that. Oops. I don't think I need this anymore. Let's see. Yes, there we go. There we go. This is what I wanted. And that looks quite nice. So we have the spotlight kind of casting shadows of the different stuff here. Yeah. Okay, let's get the proper figure in there. That's the other thing that we need to get. And let's just actually, as long as I'm thinking of it, let's make this spotlight a little bit more yellow. Looks really cold right now. Yeah. Cool. The Yep, there's the proper guy. And now we can paint things properly. Actually, let's just make sure that the colors are still working. Yeah. Okay. Got to be more consistent with naming stuff here. But there we go. Let's get that ceiling back on. Oops. So it looks like the desks aren't working. Let's just review quick what the names of the parts here are. So it should be sim desk something. Oh, I wonder if that's it. I wonder if desk, yeah. Because I'm missing that. I'm missing that underscore. Let's try to fix that. Still there. Actually, another thing let's do quick. Let's just move that figure so that he doesn't look quite so stiff. Yeah. Cool. And now we can give colors to some other things too. So set up scene. is in there. Okay. I'm gonna make the lights on the computer light up here. Let's see. Is Hmm. Just debugging here to make sure that this is getting set somewhere. No, it's not. So let's see what's going on here. Computer, huh? Computer light. And they're facing the right direction too. Let's see here. Let's try this again. Oops. Sim computer light. So basically what's going on here is I'm trying to apply materials to these different objects just by kind of a test of the name. It's like a simple way to sort of paint colors and stuff on geometry. And it starts with sim computer light. Sometimes though you get these weird cases where things don't do what you expect. And I know that some of this is working because oh, I know what's going on. It's just getting overwritten by the other one. So, computer stand, computer body, computer heat. Yeah, that's what's going on. That's getting taken out first. So, we'll actually put this condition first. Then that should do it, I bet. Yeah, there we go. The lights aren't green, but they are glowing. So that's a good step. And let's just do the cables and then we'll be done. Because we kind of proved out what we intended to prove out here. So kind of a mess to clean up here. Oh, that didn't go on. Oh, sim hardware. Cables were dark. I think the cables should be light gray. And those pads. bothers me that those lights on that computer are not the right color. Let me just see if this is doing anything. Then we'll call it good. Yeah. That's odd. Yeah, that's working like right. That's odd. That's odd that that isn't working, but I can investigate that some other time. Let's see here. Anything else we want to get here, as long as we're looking at it? So one thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to add an actual light, like bright material to that spotlight, so it looks like it's casting. But other than that, and then just like working out some bugs with the colors and things, I think this is good. And I don't want to spend too much time on that right now because this needs an overhaul as far as the materials and stuff. I'm using a lot of just pure colors and kind of like default material settings, which I want to get away from. I want to try to specify things a little bit better. But yeah, this is pretty exciting. I've been working on this scene for a while, so it's neat to actually finally see it in the scene. And it was fun doing it live and having some people watching along. So thanks to everyone who came. Thanks for coming, Doug Wise, and thanks for stopping by, Lachlan Williams. And stay tuned. I'll probably do some more streams later this week. I've got some neat efforts underway with other low poly modeling stuff, and I'd also like to finish the simulator mode, get it working, maybe actually get some of that stuff going like I was talking about, where, you know, if you select a ship, like to see that ship over in the projector area, right? That would be cool. So even starting to see the layouts of the like the squadron that you're building in the projector would be really cool. So, and that's totally doable because we have all the information that we need to do that. So, all right, yep. Thanks again for coming, Doug. Always good to see you. Have a good night.